Okay, so look, the second framework on neg, what I want you to do on neg after you've set up the justice argument is you're going to set up the harms of the harms of public infrastructure projects. Okay, and these are what the harms are going to be. Number one, their harm is environmental. If we're going to have big public infrastructure projects, that means developing yet more currently pristine natural land. And we should never prioritize our economic short-term concerns over our long-term viability as a nation, which is exactly what we're doing when we are tearing up our national forests and state forests and building new malls and roads and libraries and stuff there, which we don't even need. Number two, to devote spending specifically to public infrastructure as opposed to social welfare programs suggests that spending money on infrastructure is some sort of special job of government that it's not something they normally have to do. They only have to do it on special occasions. Well, that's absolutely not the case. Government should be spending all the money it currently has that's going to security and defense should already be going to roads and stuff like that because that's their primary job. So there's no reason why we should have to specify that it be prioritized over social welfare. In fact, the roads shouldn't even constitute really a spending measure. It's simply an ongoing expense that's what we give our tax dollars for. Now with the tax dollar remainder, whatever, and they should have tons of money left over because we give them way too many tax dollars. So with all that extra money now, we should prioritize that. Now that we know already that the government's ought to be, as a default, maintaining all the roads at top-notch level. They have more than enough money to do it. If we say, let's prioritize spending on the roads, we are giving them an excuse. We are saying, we are excusing them from not doing their jobs. It's like saying, I've hired you to bake pies here for the next 6 hours. And instead, I come over and I find you outside painting the wall. I'm like, well, I didn't hire you to paint the wall. Can you paint the wall, please? Can you cook pies, please? And you're like, well, shoot, I mean, you're going to have to pay me again because you only paid me once, and I'm doing 2 jobs now. And you're like, well, I don't want you to do that job outside. I don't want you to paint the wall. I only want you to bake the pies. So I'm not going to pay you for painting the wall. And if I agree to your plan, I'm encouraging you to keep doing this shit. I'm saying, yeah, okay, government, I know we've given you all this tax dollars, but you can say you want to do a different job with it anyway and spend it on something else and then be like, okay, I'm ready for more money now so I can build roads. That's your number one priority. You should spend the money that you had first on the roads. Everybody understand that?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Okay, look, those are not hugely strong arguments. What I'm saying is this is the second angle I want you to take, which is basically says we need to prioritize spending on social welfare because that's a true spending measure. Whereas the roads, if we prioritize that, it implies that the government doesn't really have to do it. You know, it's like, I should prioritize. Oh, we should prioritize not killing people over making cheese today. No, you should not kill people as a default, and then we can talk about what our priorities are. You don't need to factor that in, right? Like, what should we prioritize today? Getting my homework done or not killing people? They're not exclusive of each other, and you shouldn't be considering it as though they were, saying, well, we have to not kill people, so therefore we can't do our homework. They're not exclusive. And in this case, when it's saying which should you prioritize, your point should be the roads should already be taken care of. It shouldn't even be considered a spending measure that ought to be prioritized. It should be considered the default thing that they do first before they do anything else. So when we're talking about a spending measure, which is extra discretionary money that the government has, yeah, it ought to go to social welfare programs because of these things we already said. Like that. It's a little squirrely, but it might work. Say it again?
Opponents are What?
I can't hear you. Say again?
Okay, so our opponents are probably going to find something else other than roads, right? More than just roads.
Right, but your point is it doesn't matter what they say. Your point is going to be the same, which is if it's public infrastructure, that's supposed to be...
The government probably spends money on it.
Yeah, that's what they're there for. That's like saying hiring policemen and having them delivering the mail one day and going like, aren't you supposed to enforce crimes? They're like, no, that's kind of dangerous, so I decided to deliver the mail instead. At that point you say, well, okay, can you go enforce the law now and stop this crime that's happening? Well, sure, but you got to pay me again. No, it doesn't work like that. You've already been paid to do your job. If you want to do something else on the side, fine. But you need to make sure you do your job, and you're not going to get paid again for doing your job when you didn't do it in the first place. So if in fact there's a need for public infrastructure, that means the government is not doing its job. And, you know, we should... Say again?
No, don't. My parents.
Okay, so what I would like to do is field some more questions, but I would like to set up a scrimmage here as the question fielding is going on. How much stuff do you have in that folder? Enough to find plenty of stuff, or do you need me to put more stuff in that folder? All right, somebody take the lead here and direct me. Somebody direct me. What do you guys want to do? Do you want to scrimmage? Or Lyle, you said you were cutting cards. You still want time to cut cards? Trevor, I'm sure you're feeling a little bit lost. You're not a regular attendee here, although you've come a couple times now. Sean, you did a good job of directing me initially. Brandon, I don't know what your thoughts are. Somebody give me some feedback here.
I thought we were going to talk about the app side now.
Okay, fine. Let's do that. App, you need to frame it simply as whoever more significantly and in a lasting fashion narrows the gap between the richest and poorest quintiles. And you're going to be arguing that public infrastructure, in fact, does narrow that gap more. And the reason is because, first of all, you can pay people more to do a job than you can give them for free. Your welfare check is not going to be as big as your paycheck. So they're going to get more money if they get a public infrastructure job than if they get welfare. Number two.
They're saying that it creates jobs, basically.
Right, it creates jobs, but what you're doing is comparing. Remember, it's true social welfare doesn't create jobs. I mean, it does create jobs. It creates government jobs, managing the welfare recipients, managing the distribution of the welfare money. Those are the jobs it creates. But the infrastructure does create jobs like construction jobs and stuff. And your point will be, not only does it give a person a job, which is going to give them more money than a welfare check, it also gives them a skill set and a resume so that when that job ends, 'cause it's going to be a temp job, right? They're going to have to, they say, we're going to build this tunnel. It's going to take 4 years to build it. At the end of those 4 years, people who are working on that tunnel need to find a new project to work on.
Yeah.
So what you want to do then on the app side is you're going to be arguing the benefits of giving people jobs, making them earn their money over just handing them free money, and you're going to argue the harms of handing them free money, which are you're going to cite the how the one key argument I want us to make for sure, and I think it's going to be a strong argument, is that if we support a living wage, which is a much better way to deal with poverty than welfare, if we support a living wage increase, then we have to get rid of these welfare programs because they make those living wage increases not work, as per Seattle and Springer B or whatever it was, Springer A, Springer B, I don't know. One of those cards talked about Seattle and the relationship between government handouts and the impacts of a living wage increase. It's the one where it says people work less. Okay, so run that for sure. And the other thing I want you to run, if you can Google it and see if you can find it, I don't remember exactly the guy's name, but I think it's called The Gift, and I believe it's by a French political philosopher. And he talks all about the sort of ontological impacts of being the recipient of charity on a regular basis and reliance on the goodwill of others as opposed to one's own whatever. So that I think is something worthwhile too. What you want to do is because look, the left side, the welfare side wants to position this as you're mean, you don't care about these people who are suffering, and we can help them, we ought to. And what you want to do is turn that and say, you hold these people in contempt, shame on you. You don't view them as equals. Okay?